So Danny Röhl has been speaking to the Times, and it's a really interesting article with him, and it says a couple of things about his situation. And again, I don't blame anyone for wanting to get out of the situation with DC and stuff like that. Like one of the quotes it starts it off with, it says, "Some people say you survive when then you've learned a lot," and you've got to remember with what Danny had to deal with and how he had to deal with DC and then having to sort out lots of other bits and pieces. At one point, he was doing the hotel rooms. That's not in a manager job description. It is if you like, say, non-league or something like that. But a championship squad, you'll have someone else doing that. You'd have someone else delegating that. And the amount of times that he spoke about needing to have other people do things or have people do this and saying that there isn't a structure there. And we've heard time and time again about the structure. And the thing is, you look at the whole situation with the training ground, it needed a new gym, it had no understeel heating, there was no cover protective things, so when it got to December, things were a problem. And it's the whole thing, you look at that kind of thing, when everything happened, they had to go to university facilities, artificial surfaces, at a social club in some because ongoing problems, training, and sometimes during real time, they had to abandon practice and have meetings instead because of how bad the situation was at the training ground. And it's one of those things when you look at that, that is one of those things you do not ever want to have constantly happen. And we hear more and more again about this feng shui stuff, where he turned around and said he doesn't want to do something because it'll affect the feng shui at the training ground, like something they wanted to do. Now he goes on to say this is something that very much in DC culture is luck. It's very much in there. And then you look at trying to get contract doing and not having a director of football. And you see this is the kind of things he wants to have done. He wants to make sure that there are things in place. And he said around the whole game, we lost a very late goal. We couldn't pay salaries or wages. The communication was not what I expected. And there was all small things. I found myself and asked what could happen in the summer. Do I have conviction? Can I make the next step? I tried to speak with the club. There was no dialogue with there. I had to take a decision. Once the club refused to discuss the future, he put was unsuccessful for an early departure. And it seems like he wanted to leave without having to have this whole thing, what we've had this summer. Clean break, they can move on, I can move on, but just didn't. And it's one of those things where you look at how he tried to work things and how he tried to do things. He's always really struggled with everything. Apparently, he had a good 2 phone calls from Bannon, who Röhl is the best coach he ever worked with, when he departed and went to support singing his name at Watford's last game. He said that was a great moment. If you ask me now, I had the best time as manager in Sheffield. I love the fans, I love my players, I love even our training facility. But I have emotions, I'm ambitious, I don't want to finish 15th. I need the mindset of feeling you're moving forward. I want to say this again, it was never that I changed my attitude. The love was always there, and I was sad to leave. And this is the thing, you look at all the kind of stuff, like the tongue-in-cheek thing with the River Don about it, and the training ground revamp because the structure of the piece of land involved did not look lucky. And that's one of the situations we're dealing with. We're dealing with someone who's just nuts like that. Like, you got to remember who you're dealing with in terms of the kind of person it is. And again, you have to have that thing where you need a clear picture for everything to happen. And the thing is, once everyone started to do that, and once people started not getting paid, I think it changes how everything goes. The whole atmosphere of the club goes, because you then question every last little thing you do. You're questioning everything you are about to do. And the problem you've got where you're constantly questioning, are you going to get paid? Am I going to be able to have this player? Am I able to do this? Am I going to be able to have that? He says, I'll get you this, but then 2 days later, I can't do it. I'm not doing that. If you're constantly having to have this question with yourself and then question with the ownership, it's not going to work. Could he have left in a better way? Yeah, 100%. He could have left in a much better way. But I won't begrudge Danny for the job he did in the 2 years he was here. He saved us from relegation. And second season, it should have been a little bit better. We got mid-table, which was fantastic. But right now, we should be sat here right now, having that Danny Röhl done X, Y, and Z this summer to move on to go, right, we're going to have a push at playoffs this time. But we haven't got that. We haven't got that, and that's down to one person and one person only. I know there's going to be a lot of people in the comment section having a go at Danny, but at the same time, you look at who he's working for. Anyone who comes into a job who works with DC, we've all heard the same things from different managers now and coaches. Chris Powell said it during the summer. Oh, well, Chris Powell said it during the summer that it's most weirdest club he worked with. You'd had it in the past where Tony Pulis has said stuff. You'd have managers, and these are lots of managers who work for him. I'm pretty sure there's an interview with Monk saying it was difficult. These are people who all work with DC and all said the same thing. It's very difficult to work with him when it starts getting tough. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. We are doing what we're doing now with the protest to try and get him out. Hopefully, this is going to make it quicker, and hopefully we do have something in 2 weeks' time. But again, we are dealing with a man who does move the goalposts all the time. The luck thing is a big factor of what he does. He's very much of the opinion of how does it make it? It's why the golden bloody elephants have been there for so long. Why we had a monk come and, I think it was a monk, come and like bless the stadium. There's so many certain things. It's why you see him sometimes lighting something on fire in the ground. Kind of thing. It's like he's doing a ritual or some sort. He's very much of this kind of, this is how we're going to do things. And if X, Y, and Z doesn't work, how am I going to do it? And the thing is, we've gone from A to Z already and back around constantly. It's a never ending circle at the moment. And it needs that break at some point. And I think it getting to that break, and hopefully sooner than later. But at the end of the day, Danny came in, did a job, tried it best, wanted to get further. Sounds like he got told 15th, 12th, 15th. That's great. That's a really good position to be in. And then for him, it was like, well, I don't want to finish that every year. I want to try and have go a bit extra. But I don't know if it could be a bit of a case of first manager's job running before you can walk and not easing into it. But at the same time, he did a fantastic job when he was here, and you get it. So at the end of the day, Danny's interview is very interesting. Let me know if you have read it or have a chance to have a look at it. But yeah, really, really interesting. But if what it is, we move on. Managers move on. Yeah. See what happens next. Anyway, good luck to Danny with whatever he does. There's a rumor today with Nico that apparently Danny Röhl is the man they are looking at if they get rid of Sellers. If he does do that, he will tarnish whatever legacy he did have with Wednesday fans. That is a fact. But let's see what happens next. See you later.